Hello to everyone who may or may not be here. Welcome back to the stream where we play non-violent games, games that reward the player for intellectual and or emotional engagement, rather than for combat or any other kind of violent gameplay loops. We are back with the Great Ace Attorney. I'm just gonna change the controller over to one that I prefer. If it's working. If it's working. Because this controller, it's got like a sticky A button, which I haven't been able to fix, unfortunately. So even though I love this controller, oh boy. Now my computer's being super slow. Great. There we go. Okay. Anyways, that was just like I was just sort of saying, even though I actually do prefer this controller, but it's got the sticky A button, which makes it really frustrating. But this controller that doesn't appear to that doesn't have a sticky A button appears to be out of battery. So sticky A button controller it is. At least this doesn't require any, like, you know, quick reactions or anything, so, you know. Without further ado, sorry for the, you know, sort of weird tangent, I guess. You didn't really need to know any of that, but, you know. Oof, the sun is really bright, and it's really reflecting pretty bad off some of my screens. Just trying to, Yeah, okay. Well, this is going to be a little awkward, at least until the sun goes down a little more. So, but c'est la vie. 23rd of October, Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxworks. Here we are again at the House of Horrors. I'm sorry, the House of Horrors. I did not mean to pronounce it the way that I did. Apologies. I'm afraid I haven't got used to the place yet. I'd still like to turn on my heels and go straight home, via the confectionery, of course. Zaza-san really is after something sweet today, isn't she? Eek! What's the matter? Look, Miss Nardo. Look at that waxwork. I'm quite sure it wasn't there before. It looks exactly like Mr. Sholmes, down to the very last detail. Aha! What is it? Oh, sorry. I think you'll find that's the temporary waxwork himself. Ah, the friend of my dedicated employee. The friend of my dedicated employee. Oh, yes. Hello again. It's Ranosuke Naruto. I must say, I am quite spellbound by the great... I am quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. He's a marvel. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. French accents are hard. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. I must say, I am quite spellbound by the great detective. By the great detective. By the great detective. The R's are like a kind of thing. It's a... Oh, boy. Detective. Oh, French accents, man. I must say, I am quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. My precious waxwork is already back where it belongs. You don't mean... But yes, the mystery is solved already. Wow, Mr. Shums can really engage his brain when he's hungry enough. So as you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties. Yes. His habitual duties. Alos, do not disturb. Eh? Do not disturb, eh? Poor Susato-san, she looks very perplexed. Hello. We really do need to speak with Mr. Sholmes, and I am longing to say hello again. But where is he? I think you might find that he's quite nearby, actually. Huh? What do you... Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I! World-famous great detective and waxwork, Herlock Sholmes. Susato-san! Susato-san! My, most humble apologies. I thought I'd died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment, via London. My dear madam, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point. As long as it's not of questionable street food quality. I don't understand. Why are you working as a waxwork here, Mr. Sholmes? Merely a secret identity, you understand. The case is largely solved now. Largely solved? We're talking about the waxwork abduction, I presume? Indeed we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was easy as proverbial pie. Though I confess, I'm yet to partake of a pie, proverbial or otherwise, or any food so far today, for that matter. That stomach rumble echoed around the whole museum. So how did you manage to solve it so quickly? Ah, well, do you remember I said it was largely solved? I said it was largely solved. Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone? Oh yes, it's a most modern invention, allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as yet. This morning, a telephone call was received here from the perpetrator of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate terms, and in the end, the waxwork was returned. That's amazing! Just between you and I, it would appear the culprit had always intended to return the stolen waxwork in any event. Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible had demanded a ransom, no? Yes, I think perhaps the ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive. But does that not mean your negotiating was entirely unnecessary? A fact that I must ask you to keep from Madame Despels at all costs. Hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street, after all. Poor Iris. Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this... do I sense that you have some business with this great waxwork? Ah, no, that's not... Sorry, ADHD, I got distracted. I'm sorry. Frickin'... Anyways, we're in the process of trying to track somebody down. Oh. Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's the swindler who duped Professor Hairbrain and the engineer who built the kinesis machine. A swindler and an engineer. Quite the modern man. He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts, too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. But we have so few clues to go on, that's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas? I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. If I knew something of the man's appearance, at least, I may be in a better position to help. Yes, Drebber's appearance. Fortunately for you, however, presently I have little to occupy myself and little to fill my stomach. As soon as we find any clue, no matter how small, I shall gladly give you my thoughts on it. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? My dear Mr. Naruto, stay that piercing stare. What is this about? Last winter, when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship, your words were very clear. So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. You told us that it was murder, and you examined Kazuma-sama's body. Indeed, and wherein lies the problem? We met him earlier today. The victim, Kazuma-sama. We're quite sure. He was wearing some sort of mask and was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure it was Kazuma-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead. Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderous atmosphere at the moment. The fellow wasn't dead at all. Ah, priceless. I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruto? I could believe that the crewman present at the time made a mistake. But not you, Mr. Sholmes. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Tomorrow in court, you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that is all I could say. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over this photographic print? It's of Mr. Enoch Drebber, the face of the engineer we seek. Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course, so looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive. Are you alright, Mr. Sholmes? Yes, forgive me. Very interesting, this. Very interesting indeed. What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You've turned quite pale all of a sudden. I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruto. Will you indulge me? Oh, well, what is it? As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned, and I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains. Oh, yes, the Professor exhibit, isn't it? Would you like to see it for a mere 5 shillings? That's a special, one-time only price you reserve. What? The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Would you like to see the fruits of my labour? Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone. The price is a very reasonable 5 shillings. I think you'll find it's well worth it. are you being quite serious, Mr. Shells? Surely you need only to look at my expression to ascertain if this is seriousness or silliness. I can never tell with you, that's the point. Very well, it couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings. Here's your 5 shillings. Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse it at your leisure. Well, the money's been spent, so let's go and see the special exhibit. This guy's the professor, isn't he? Through those heavy curtains at last. Enoch Dropper is the professor, isn't he? $5 we've had to pay. Doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Shum slipped the money into his own pocket, does it? No. Ah, we could ask Gina to retrieve it for us, using her special skills. Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives. Is this what makes Britain great? Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands, or chip-loving inspectors. Inspector Gregson comes off rather well in that list, I think. 23rd of October, Madame Tuspel's special exhibit. Oh dear, I felt a shiver run down my spine as soon as we walked in here. Mrs. Sato, I say we turn on our heels and go straight home via a really big confectionery. We certainly can't do that. We paid 5 shillings already. True. Actually, now I'm looking a little more closely. We've paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of the great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place. This must be what Mr. Sholmes said when he said the case was largely solved. Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there'd be a clue about the engineer in here, didn't he? But where? Since we've paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shall we? Yes, we will get what we paid for. Is that fear or frustration that's making Susada's voice tremble? Could be a mixture of both, you know. This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real. Seems to be a young man in a white overcoat, and he has seems to be a young man in a white overcoat, and he has a large shovel in his hand too. Look. Perhaps we should investigate in a little more detail. What's this here? Well, this would appear to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera. A camera? But it's so small. British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Shum's skin prints? I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Shum's inventions as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera? I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment a dead body came back as a ghost on film. We'll just borrow this for a while, I think. By looking at the photographic plate inside the camera, you can see what picture was taken. What's a photographic plate? It's a piece of glass coated with a special emulsion that reacts to the light coming in through the lens. If we open the cover at the back of the camera, we should find it. Let's have a look. You should see yourself, Susada. Son, your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? Well, she's just really, she's a really proper academic. She's really intelligent. What a large shovel. He's holding it rather ominously, isn't he? What on earth was the man doing with a shovel in the graveyard in the middle of the night? Miss Usato? Yes? That's a spade, isn't it? No, it's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. We've been through this, Mr. Nato. It's a shovel. No. Although, we haven't considered trowels. We've allowed ourselves to be distracted, I feel. Perhaps we should concentrate on what the man was doing with the implement. So we're going to bury the hatchet? You're right, though. What was the man doing in the graveyard in the first place? That's the real question. That's quite a large lamp the man's carrying. Or is it a lantern? It's not unlike a Japanese... Chochin? I don't know. Paper lantern, actually, is it? Lamp, lantern, Chochin. The point is it casts very little light. To be walking alone in a graveyard at night with only this, well, I certainly couldn't do it. I'm not sure I could visit the graveyard at all, even in broad daylight, to be honest. I can't see his face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just... Oh, do you think you should be manhandling the exhibit, Mr. Nato? I'll put it back exactly as it was, don't worry. Huh? What on... how can... I don't believe it. A black monocle. Mr. Nato, is it possible that this man is... Yes. It's Enoch Drebber. The color of his hair is different, but it's unmistakably him. Indeed it is. Mr. Sholmes. This man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe. Yes, that's right. Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? And why does the convict behind him have no head? The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. What a surprise. So then the case isn't yet solved, is it? Did I not say so myself? Largely solved, were my words, I believe. But I must locate the missing head to the suite, as Madame would say. As Madame would say. Or I'll be in great trouble. Very hungry Iris still awaits my turn to Baker Street, preferably with rations. Ah! To know, though, something about this room is strange. Strange? What do you mean? Well, the displays in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real events, are they not? Indeed they are, Mrs. Nato. Do go on. And as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one... This surely couldn't ever really have happened, could it? I think it's time I educated you a little about the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. This must be the killer, the fiend known as the Professor. Yes, I think so. According to what Madame Tuspel said, he killed 5 victims, all of noble or royal blood. The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the models in this place. I know. It looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only it had a head, that is. Perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. So this is the condemned man. Yes, the so-called professor. Then perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine. But unable to find peace, he emerged from his grave as a headless ghost. Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Mr. Sato? Anyway, I'm sure the model had a head once. There's a metal fitting for it, see? Then perhaps Mr. Sholmes absent-mindedly forgot to reattach it. That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it? Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum. And that would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Well, whatever the reason, it means we don't know what the face of the infamous professor looked like, do we? Oh. There's something caught just inside the convict's jacket here. It looks like a piece of broken glass. And quite a big piece, too. It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than normal window glazing, I'd say. Where could such a thick piece of glass have come from, I wonder? I suppose it must have been made thick to increase its strength. But why? Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area, such as in a big building, for example. Ah, well, we've seen a large glass building recently, haven't we? And some of the glass was broken, too. You don't mean... Exactly, the Crystal Tower at the Great Exhibition. Exactly, the Crystal Tower at the Great Exhibition. But why would glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged inside this Waxworks jacket? Makes you think, doesn't it? A piece of broken glass has been entered into the court record. A small fragment of very unusual and thick glass that was found in the folds of the clothing of the Professor Waxwork. It would appear to be from the Crystal Tower. Earlier in court, we established that the kinesis experiment was a trick. And now we discovered this fragment of glass here in this waxwork. Is it just a coincidence? No, of course not. Or at least it's going to turn out not to be. Doesn't matter if they're here in Britain or in Japan. Graveyards are scary. Now I come to think of it, this is the first time I've seen a British grave. According to what I've read, the custom in Britain is to bury the dead as they are, without cremation. What? But if you do that, you might accidentally bury people while they're still alive. I'm not sure that would be worse than accidentally incinerating people while they're still alive. I think we can both agree that it's best not to be still alive when our time comes, then. And what am I to say to that? I believe I told you a little about the professor yesterday, did I not? He took the lives of 5 victims, everyone being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their bodies. Oh gosh, enormous hound? How awful. An enormous hound, huh? Like the Hound of the Baskervilles? After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain, you understand. Accordingly, the professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted. Closed court? So you mean that the professor's identity... As you surmised, my dear fellow, his identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty, and was summarily sentenced to death by hang. He was buried in a grave at Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins the rear of the prison where he had been held. However, that was not the end of the affair. Oh. The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life. Came back to life? He clawed his way out of the ground and emerged into the moonlit graveyard. The exhibit there depicts that very scene, as described by the sole witness to those chilling events. There was a witness, but of course, my dear fellow, it was none other than the young man in the white overcoat. Nothing other than the young man in the white overcoat. Enoch Drebber. He saw it happen? Or... hear me out. Enoch Drebber is the professor, and he staged something using all his skills that somehow allowed him to take on the identity of Enoch Drebber and escape the conviction of his as professor. So this is a waxwork. Oh, sorry, wrong person. So this is a waxwork model of Enoch Drebber. 10 years ago, the convicted professor, having been gibbeted and buried, emerged from his grave in the dead of night. The sole witness to that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old. It's so horrifying. It's so horrifying. Scared out of his wits, young Drebber ran to a nearby police station to report the incident. And the sheer terror of what he's seen is said to have turned his hair white overnight. Yes, as shown in the photograph here. His hair is completely white. For the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every front page in the capital. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was even created here at Madame Tuspel's. I can quite understand why the man's hair turned white, certainly. But what I don't understand is what Mr. Drebber was doing in the first place, in the lonely graveyard in the middle of the night. Yes, what was he up to? The professor's acts of terror threw London's upper classes into a complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one might say, at the very highest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumours abounded. After all, no killer had ever before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of murder. Yes, I can imagine the impact the case must have had. But in time, of course, the rumours abated. So, too, did talk of the shocking witness account of the convict who came back to life. It was forgotten, dismissed as a dubious ghost story, as a preposterous parlour tale. But why did people stop believing it? Why? Simply because there was no resurrection to speak of, as was established in fact. What do you mean by no resurrection? The police investigated the grave in the Lowgate Cemetery and published their findings. The convict's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been following the execution. No, but that would mean Mr. Drebber must have lied to the police and the newspapers. That would appear to be the only logical explanation, yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society, and nothing has been heard of him since. It's rather striking, then, that he should resurface now, don't you think? He should resurface now, don't you think? That would appear to be the only logical explanation, yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society, and nothing has been heard of him since. It's rather striking, then, that he should resurface now, don't you think? Of course, the convicted murderer couldn't really have come back to life. That's not possible. But Drebber's hair is unusually white, and if that really did happen overnight as a result of shock, it's hard to believe the incident was an out-and-out lie. I feel like that's not credible. Ah! What's up, Noro? What have you gotten done? Gina, what are you doing here? Oh, I asked her since she said this was where you'd be, so... Gina, not so loud in the museum! Madam Tuspels will have you take a position as a waxworker if you're not careful. I think there might be a more pressing concern. Oh, I still had some flash powder left from 6 months ago, so... Alright, Gina, we understand. Please, put down the gun. Sorry, I got scared. You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So... what brings you here, Gina? What brings me here? What do you think? What brings me here? What do you think? We found it. We found that Doljako's workshop. What? You found Drebber's workshop? Yep. Toby's nose took me straight there. Let's see. Toby's nose took me straight there. What brings me here? What do you think? We found it. We found that Doljako's workshop. Sorry, I still had some flash powder left from 6 months ago, so Sorry, I got scared. What brings me here? What do you think? What brings me here? What do you think? We found it. We found that Dodgeco's workshop. Yep, Toby's nose took me straight there. The boss and the others are heading over there now in a drag, so come on. Here's the address. I've got the boss to write it out. Oh, thank you, Gina. We'll make our way there at once. Alright, see you there. You go. Don't mind me. I'll just stay here, being still. What? I know my place. In the exhibit over there. Oh dear. Someone is feeling sorry for himself. Let's go, Mr. Sholmes, you're coming. Your words heartened me, I must say, but if I were to shirk my duties here, Madame would have me pay a monetary recompense and Iris's dinner plate would be empty once more. Forget that, I'll pay for everything. There's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail a carriage at once. No offer to share the cost for Mr. Sholmes, then. I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Sato. Thank you, Mr. Sato. Right, let's go. 23rd of October, Enoch Drebber's workshop. That looks like... Oh, it's another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Indeed, it would be so. They're only a prototype, naturally. Oh, so you got her then. Gina, well done for finding this place. And in such little time, you really worked miracles. It's Toby here is the miracle worker. It's Toby here who's the miracle worker. Oof. Ah, I thought you lot would show up here before long. Hello, Inspector. That's one knitted brow. He looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of fish and chips. So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer? Sadly not. We find a soul in here. Oh, what a shame. Well, thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us the chance to investigate. Brrr. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us the chance to investigate. According to what Jay tells me, when we found it thanks to the clue you lot turned in, I wouldn't want to say go to Paris with debt and gratitude unpaid now. Whoa. Thank you. Anyway, if you're open to snooping around in here, I'd get cracking. All Ben Zeke's and the forensic investigation team are on their way here as we speak. There we go. I imagine you've got the picture by now. They don't take too kindly to lawyer types. Right. So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down once we have the chance. And you, Sholmes. Pardon? I take even less kindly to correct detectives than they do to lawyers. Very droll, Gregson. Very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model. Right then, let's see what we can find in here. I'm sorry, Miss Nardo, that machine is covered by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. There would be serious repercussions if you were to examine it from the Crown and the government. Well, those two don't seem to be holding back. It's quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of deception to be seen, my dear fellow. No loose change dropped on the floor, or nothing. No loose change dropped on the floor here, or nothing. Or nothing. No loose change dropped on the floor, or nothing. Not even a bone to Toby, dear fellow. British people are much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they? I think that's just these two, Mrs. Sato. Ah, this appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed. It's an impressive looking back massager, that's for sure. I have no doubt that if you hit your shoulders a few times with that, your aches and pains would soon go away. It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. A young scientist would wish for no higher honor. Ah. Would you like a massage? No, I'm fine, thank you. I had no idea it was such a grand thing. I think it's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Mr. Enoch Trevor than conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madam. And how about you, Miss Otto? Wouldn't you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course. For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not gonna let that go, is he? It's curious, though, isn't it? You would expect such an important trophy to be proudly on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery at times. A Royal Society trophy for excellence in science that was found in Mr. Trevor's workshop. It's a very prestigious award for young scientists. What on earth is this? An aeroplane, Mr. Nardo. One day, scientists believe it will allow humans to fly freely in the skies. Is that how the trick will be described, is it? Is that how the trick will be described? Is that how the trick will be described, is it? Sorry. Well, it's actually suspended by a thin but very strong cable, isn't it? Oh, well, this model is, yes. But a real aeroplane would actually fly high in the sky. While suspended from somewhere even higher in the sky, of course. Because large metal objects obviously can't really stay in midair unsupported. So to you, the solution is Avatala Towers? So to you, the solution is Avatala Towers? This door doesn't want to open. Yeah, it looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it. There's a specialist locksmith on his way over from the yard. Hands off till he gets here. With permission, Inspector, I could have that lock open in less than a minute. Well, you don't have permission. And no one's gonna give it to you. Gregson looked as though he really enjoyed that. Well, there's no sound of anybody on the other side. No, Trevor must have fled at the first sign of danger. It's a European-style quiver of arrows, with steel bolts inside. Oh, do you suppose? Crossbow bolts, these. Just the right size for the bow. And just the right size for the bow you turned up at the exhibition grounds. In other words, yep, that's more evidence to support your theory. It all goes to show that Joe was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes of the whole scat. Oh, is something wrong, Mr. Sato? Well, I thought I heard a noise from the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too? Yeah, I heard it and all. What do you reckon, Toby? Right, mind the grease. Whoever's in there, open up. This is Scotland Yard. Oh my, someone is in there. Ah, it's a rotten beaten lock. My dear Gregson, as I said only a few minutes ago, if only it were continents, I could unlock the door in less than a minute. Fine. I'll take the rap for it. Just get us through that blasted door. There! You may enter through. You've confused minutes with seconds, I think. Time's of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for? Well, technically he said under a minute. And that definitely wasn't under a second. So I don't think he did confuse them, actually. Time's of the essence, I feel. So what are we waiting for? Not for, I suppose. This is an emergency. There's a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you all seek. Be prepared for action, my dear fellow. Yes. What's happening here? Why is everything upside down? Rats, I didn't know one in here after all. But there must be. It was only moments ago that we heard those noises. Maybe that was the sound of Trevor running away. But there's only one door into this room. And no windows that can afford an escape route. Those skylights are too high. What's that up there? Are they footprints on the ceiling? Blow me! What have we here then? Looks like someone was trying to burn something in an area. Or someone was trying to burn something in an area. Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints. To what? To that Professor Abney's bombing machine, is it? Blimey, if we had these, there'd have been no need to muck about trying to investigate all that scrap metal. There is something of great interest here, too. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar. A rope? What's significant about that? Never mind. You see, but you do not observe, sir. We must investigate the entire room thoroughly, and before the before the forensic investigation team arrive too. Mr. Jones, have you found something? Ah, Mr. Allen. Yes, in point of fact, something rather fascinating. What do you make of this? Let's see. I've never seen anything like it before. Looks like a bundle of thick cigars. Right there. Ah! Sorry. Ah! Mr. Sato, what's the matter? That's surely that's a time bomb, isn't it? What? Do you say? A time bomb? Sorry, but what is a time bomb exactly? Hey. You truly are one of a kind, Mr. Adam. I won't take that as a compliment. Ha! You don't know nothing, do you, Odo? You know nothing, do you, Odo? You haven't got a clue what it is either, haven't you? I invite you to consult the dictionary later, Mr. Odo. But this particular specimen is no time bomb, though I confess it has a very similar appearance. Oh, well, thank goodness. But then, what is it? I see. So that's it. Goodness, Mr. Jones, have you seen to the heart of the matter? There are times when I consider my lot most unfair, for I'm fated never to know how it feels to flounder as you do when a puzzle presents itself. But I have learned to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Mr. Sato. There we go. I feel a great deduction coming. Once again, I can draw two conclusions from the scene we see before us. The first is that the inverted nature of the furniture in this room is the work of Trevor himself. Oh, but how could you? And the second conclusion is that the small device on the floor there is without question completely genuine. Please, Mr. Jones, you must explain everything. It would be a pleasure. After all, it is a great detective's civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade. Well, Inspector Gregson seems delighted with the idea anyway. Oh, you deflected the inspector's glare with such fortitude there, Mr. Jones. Well done. You're too kind, my dear man. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. Kindly stand just there, Mrs. Sato. Oh, yes. I'd be delighted. So, shall we begin? Once again, Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Flipped furniture. It's plain to see that this room is It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table and chairs, the lamp, the bed, the table and chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. almost as if every item in the room had, until recently, been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that? Indeed, the key here is gravity. It would appear that the technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. For the gravity in this room was reversed, and then suddenly restored to normality. Goodness! The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part that gravity played in this whole business. I quite understand your skepticism, Susan. I too was incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this. An anti-gravity device, almost identical to one that featured in a dream of mine only the other day, in fact. But then why does it have a clock on it? A most relevant question indeed. That is a timing device that controls where the gravity direction will switch. There was clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically. The commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the door was the moment that restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. So you see, we need look no further to explain the state in which we now find this room. The direction in which gravity acts in here was reversed by Mr. Trevor before being restored to normality in an automatic fashion sometime later by the timer device. I have witnessed precisely the scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed. Honestly, a little more off than even usual. Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads. Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Of course, Trevor's aim was singular, to escape. However, there is but one way into this room, excepting the skylight, that is. Oh. By inverting the gravity in here, Trevor was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling and make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on the way. But the ceiling in here is very high, Mr. Shells. If the gravity reversal was sudden, wouldn't Mr. Trevor have fallen up to the ceiling rather violently? Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered with nowhere to run, so escape to the skylight was his only option. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? By anchoring one end to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling, which explains how Trevor was able to escape this room before our arrival. He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now, just for fun. This concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. She's completely spellbound. Mr. Sholmes, there's just one thing that troubles me. I would expect nothing less. You're destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life. The thing is such a thing actually possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean? I would say that with man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 20th century. It's no more possible than instantaneous kinesis. But your whole deduction hinges on it. Ah, but my dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. however improbable it may seem. It's a marvelous line, wouldn't you agree? One of my most enduring pearls of wisdom. I had Iris comes up with the exact phrasing. My original was clumsy. Yes, I have a feeling I've read it in something that Mrs. Sato led me.
Objection!
Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, the spell's broken at last. The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it? Indeed it was, in lonely coils near the wall. But if Mr. Drebber had used it to escape in the way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall? Mystery is inevitably unraveled in the end, as I think you'll find do ropes. And as evidence of such, we need only look at the mystery we faced in this room, now skillfully unraveled. That argument is as circular as the coils of rope. I think perhaps we might need to give Mr. Sholmes the usual little helping hand. I'm sure with some minor corrections, the greater text of Great Deduction will lead us to the truth. Yes, you're right. We must do it quickly before Enoch Drebber gets too far away. If you're ready, then let us resume. If you're ready, then let us resume. Herlock Sholmes, logic and reasoning spectacular. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table and chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had, until recently, been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that? Indeed, the key here is gravity. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. The gravity in this room was reversed and then restored to normality. Goodness. The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. And here we go. I think gravity could have been reversed in this very room. I find the whole idea utterly enthralling. To think gravity could have been reversed in this very room. I find the whole idea utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could conceive of such an explanation. But the man himself admitted it was a scientific impossibility, so... Yes, you're quite right. We must completely discount the idea at once. Ooh, that's unusually merciless of you, Mrs. Sato. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The great detective himself said so, didn't he? While refusing to part with his dreams of anti-gravity devices. Yes, I suppose so. Well, let's see if examining this topsy-turvy scene a little more closely reveals some proof that shows exactly what the gravity in this room was or wasn't doing. All the furniture in here is very conspicuously upside down, certainly. Yes, it does immediately put you in mind of some strange quirk of gravity, I admit. Could it be that a mini whirlwind passed through it, do you think? I'm not sure that's much more plausible than Mr. Sholmes' explanation. Oh dear, saying the first thing that comes into your head isn't the way forward here, it seems. Look, Mr. Sato. When everything seems to be upside down in here, this safe is conspicuously the right way up. When everything seems to be upside down in here, this safe is conspicuously the right way up. Have you noticed? Yes, that's true. But look more closely at this safe's feet. Ah, a lot of very large bolts fixing it to the floor. Think before you speak. That's what you wanted to say, isn't it? I really put my foot in my mouth there. I certainly didn't say that. Well, I wasn't expecting to find a pretty bunch of flowers in here, that's for sure. Oh, look at that! I know, that slender little vase looks like it's about to topple at any moment, but the flowers are thriving. Somehow it makes you think of the fragility of life, wouldn't you say? To be honest, Miss Naruto, something else about it made a rather deeper impression on me.
Take that!
The upright vase clearly reveals, or vase or whatever. The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. On my word, Miss Naruto, you surpassed yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps? No one is trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Jones, trust me. As you rightly say, there would appear as, at first glance, that all the furniture in the room is upside down. This unassuming slender vase is standing keenly to potential. And, unlike the large safe, there is nothing affixing it to the floor. And it's the exception that breaks the rule. In short, much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never invented at all. My deepest sympathies for your loss. Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes. But the show must go on, so let us continue with our deductions. Now that we know that this contrivance is not in fact an anti-gravity device, there remains but one other possibility. You don't say. Someone deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in here. Which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that? Quite. And naturally, there is an explanation. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. He's absolutely determined that this device must have something to do with it, isn't he? I'm afraid the lure of an exciting scientific explanation is too strong. Well, there's no doubt that somebody did this. Somebody turned all this furniture over, so whoever it was must have had a reason. I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though. Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. We've already established that gravity wasn't actually reversed in here, haven't we? In other words, this isn't an anti-gravity device at all. Which makes me very curious to know what sort of device it is. But I think for now it's clear that we're looking for an answer elsewhere. Look, there's something written on the underside of the armchair. Oh yes. Safe 432582. Safe, as in safe and secure? As in secure lockable box, I think. Admittedly, more likely. But there is a large safe bolted to the floor on the other side of the room, so yes. So you mean this number would let us open it? I wonder why it's written here, though.
Take that!
Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination. Precisely. I believe, Mr. Naruto, you had a very similar experience once, did you not? Yes, last year, when I bought a lottery ticket and noted the ticket number down on the inside cover of a book, just in case. That's it. Well, people are forgetful souls at heart, and always make a written note of important information. Just keeping the ticket itself safe would be more sensible, I think. And what, pray? Just keeping the ticket itself safe would be more sensible, I think. And pray, what happened next, Mr. When the day of the draw came around, I'd forgotten which book I'd written the number in, and had to turn my room upside down to find it. That's it, for people are forgetful souls at heart, and always forget where they've noted things down. What if you always note things in the same place? I actually won the second prize, you know. But I couldn't remember which magazine I'd slipped a ticket into, so I had to... thank you, Mr. Otto, but I believe I proved my point now. Which is that a very similar scenario is clearly unfolded in this room. Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant of this room needed the combination code. He remembered that he'd written it on the underside of a piece of furniture, but forgot which one, leading to the state in which we now find the room. Yes, Mr. Drebber overturned all the furniture in here in a desperate hurry to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe. That was like, his initial thing was so far off. Like, I know they're usually far off, but that was really far off. Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads. Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear pal. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Well, if a change in the direction of gravity can't explain it, then how did those footprints get there? Yes, I feel as though that particular mystery has just become even harder to solve. I can't think of any other way to explain it at all. Oh, life was so much simpler in those halcyon days where gravity could be reversed. It was minutes ago, and those halcyon days never existed in the first place. Well, I suppose we must simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe the area in more detail. Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us into these situations in the first place. This is a gas balloon, isn't it? It's tiny, but it does seem to be a real balloon. Yes, I think you're right. I think it's helium that's keeping it up. A green gas balloon. Why does that seem to ring a bell with me? If you can see, there are footprints on this balloon too. Look. Yes. Surely that's a clue, isn't it? But what it tells us, I'm not sure. It's hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there. Look. Oh, yes. And there are more footprints on this little balloon too. Perhaps the shoe was thrown up there and became lodged, do you think? If so, then judging from the number of footprints, it must have been thrown up several times. Why would anyone be throwing shoes up at the ceiling, though? Oh dear, that's beyond me, I'm afraid. Oh, why are the footprints there? The shoe.
Take that!
There we go. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. And on closer inspection, there are clearly footprints all over the balloon as well. In other words, the aim was never the skylight at all, but the balloon. But for what purpose? Green balloon. That seems somewhat familiar data. Ah, it was a piece of a green balloon's envelope that Miss Otto and Iris found at the scene. And inside the green balloon that Mr. Gotts claims he saw above the stage when the incident occurred was the second bird cage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception. You mean to say? If we assume the balloon in here is the model of the one used on the day, it is a strong possibility that something may be concealed inside it. Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making a hasty getaway. But the balloon's out of reach. Hence why he resorted to a projectile, namely the shoe. Ah. Most probably, Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by selling it with the shoe. However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became a prisoner of those lofty heights. Oh dear, we desperately need to examine that balloon. If only there was some way we could see inside. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? This shows has managed to bring the deduction back to the rope. Alright, I have to admit that was clever. So, we just throw the rope up to the balloon and then pull it down to us on the ground? Which is much easier said than done, I feel. And could take us a very long time as well. True. Perhaps we need a more surefire method. In fact, we already have one, of course, don't we?
Take that!
To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this crossbow? That was found at the scene, in fact, and in all likelihood belongs to Mr. Drebber. If the man had only brought it away with him that day, he could have avoided losing a shoe at such a critical time as this. I think that was the first great deduction where he ever admitted he was wrong in any capacity. Usually he says, oh yeah, that's what I meant all along, basically. But here he reacted quite strongly and really admitted that his whole anti-gravity theory was completely bullshit. And was kind of heartbroken at the fact. I just think it's interesting. It's like the first time he's ever even acknowledged that he wasn't already saying the truth. That he hadn't already come to the correct conclusion. Anyway, so shall we? Your curiosity is deeply stirred, no doubt, my dear fellows. What is it that Dr. Bear's hidden inside that balloon? Ah! What the? A waxwork? Indeed it is. A waxwork head inside a metal mask. A mask that is shut tight and fastened with a strong and quite impenetrable lock. So we can't see the face inside, that means. Just a moment, this is the head of a waxwork model? Does that mean... Oh goodness! I see you joined the dots, Mr. Sutherland. Excellent. Ah, of course, a headless waxwork model. The case of the abducted Madame Tussbell's model that you'd largely solved. It was only the head of the killer that was still missing. Indeed it was, but I believe Madame Tussbell's will now have to settle a sizable account with me. This, as you have now surmised, is the head of the infamous Professor. Yes. But why is it here? This conclusively confirms my suspicions. The man responsible for stealing the Professor from Madame Tussbell's and returning it, sans take. I don't know what that means. I guess that means, like, without the head. But I don't know. I assume so. Earlier today was none other than Epoch Drebber. This is incredible. Professor Harebrain's case and the waxwork abduction they're inextricably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop. Waxwork has been entered in the court record. Well, it appears our logical pleasure cruise has come to an end, my dear fellows. All that remains is, yes, to speak with the architect of this adventure. The architect? You mean Mr. Drebber? It seems quite impossible that he escaped via one of the skylights. Obviously, the man must still be here in the room. What? What? Rather. And his location should be abundantly clear. If you simply reflect on the journey we've made together during this deduction. Trevor is right here, somewhere in this room. So, Miss Nardo, will you do the honors? Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Mr. Drebber's hiding place must be the... Yes, I was right. Before we gained access to this back room, we heard noises from in here. Which tells us that the engineer was still in the building at that point in time. He was, in fact, searching for the combination to his safe. And, pressed for time, made no attempt to right the furniture that he overturned in the process. Which means, from which we can deduce that his search for the combination happened very recently indeed. In summary, Mr. Enoch Drummer is at this very moment inside the safe. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Boom, baby! I don't know what that was, but I did it, and so I'm standing by it, I suppose. So, Mr. Otto, I think perhaps it's time we ended this game of hide-and-seek, don't you? By opening the safe, you mean? What else? Let's see. Combination was 1432582. I knew that! Alright then, here goes. Well, oh well. Hello! You found me. What it's Mr. Enoch Driver, What it's Mr. Enoch Driver, I presume. Correct. You'd better start talking. You tricked Professor Hairbrain with that bogus machine you built. And you shall have to explain the theft of the waxwork from Madame Tussbill's as well. Whilst I would be delighted to answer your many questions. Personally, I would advise that you deactivate my little parcel first. Deactivate? Your parcel? I refer, of course, to the time bomb. I left it in the most prominent position. Huh? Ha 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 ha. I see. Sudden silence. You're all gearing up to die with me, then. No! Mr. Sholmes, with only 7 seconds to spare. That was too close for comfort. I've got one foot in the grave already. All you trying to help us get a killer or get us killed? Mr. Sholmes' deductions can be completely life-altering, can't they? Well, my dear fellows, that was a close shave. The resemblance to an anti-gravity device is really quite startling, I must say. Anti-gravity devices don't exist. Ooh, I wouldn't push it, Mr. Sholmes. What on earth happened in here? You found me, haven't you? No need to screw me down any further. Everything in here is precisely what it seems. Yeah, well, we'll be giving it a thorough going over, don't you worry, Trevor. What fails to click with me is how you were able to locate my workshop. That I was not expecting. When I heard whistling from the other room, I knew it was time to bolt. Whistling? Ah, that would have been me. That would have been me. Oh, for some reason I woke in fine fettle today. No words, just tightly squeezed chips. Clearly, I must have a screw loose, though, as I couldn't remember the combination for the safe. And another one loose, as I couldn't remember on which piece of furniture I'd written it down. We also found a rope over by the wall. Yes, I had hoped to exit through the skylight, but sadly the rope was too short. So I then set about searching for the combination code to open the safe. And burning the incriminating blueprint instead of the gate. Regrettably though, you failed to retrieve the head from the balloon among the rafters. And after that, you hid yourself inside the safe, having first set this parcel down. Well, I had no intention of being nailed by the police. What a death wish, have you? Hiding right beside a ticking time bomb. Please, why do you suppose I chose to hide inside the safe? It's no ordinary safe, it's specially designed. A dynamite explosion wouldn't leave a scratch on it. So in fact, the safe was the only safe place. Precisely. But once you climbed inside, you wouldn't have been able to get out again. I invite you to look more closely. The safe is fitted with a handle on the inside to allow the door to be unlocked from within. Ah, so it is. I had always intended to blow this place to smithers in any case. I just wasn't expecting uninvited guests to come along and screw up my plans. Do you mean to say you were planning to blow us all up? No, that was unforeseen. What do you mean? Most people run, you see, when they see a ticking time bomb at their feet. Ah, I calculated the time required for retreat to a safe distance and set the device accordingly. But your seemingly endless discourse in here threw a spanner into the works. Is something wrong? Do I have something on my face besides the usual eyes, ears, nose, and mouth? I think we have a fairly good idea of what's been going on here now. What about the two incidents you've evidently been involved in recently? Professor Harebrain's instantaneous kinesis experiment at the Great Exhibition, and the waxwork model you stole, which this head belongs to. That's no ordinary head, you know. That's the head of the professor. Clad in a mask with a lock so strong, I'm unable to open it to safely reveal the killer's identity. I've been considering carrying it around as protection. After all, that's enough. That's enough. What's going on here, Gregson? I'm sure you're aware that I have sole jurisdiction to investigate here. I'm sure you're aware I have sole jurisdiction to investigate here. Yes, well, Dr. Scythe again, so the forensic investigation team are here. And you know full well this engineer is a key witness. Why are you allowing this lawyer access to him? If Lord Strongheart knew of this, you'd be finished. You, Lord, leave at once. My dear madam, there's no need for such a threatening tone, I assure you. After all, there's no way to greet an old acquaintance, is it, Dr. Scythe? Hello, Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes knows Dr. Scythe? If projecting the machine next door that's causing such a sour expression on your face, you are quite misguided. It's really nothing more than a shell, you. Get out. But of course, we'll show ourselves the door. I see you haven't softened at all. Mr. Harlow. Yes? It would appear that our delightfully entertaining investigations have run their course for today. But Mr. Sholmes, let us leave this place in the doctor's capable hands. I said get out. Now, all of you. Your presence here is not required. Your presence here is not required either, Gregson. Understood. But I'll just say one thing before I end off. If it wasn't for this lawyer and his companions, we'd never have found this place. and the old workshop would have been blown to bits. There was a time bomb sitting here that this lot dissolved. Inspector. Something give you a chuckle as it dribbled. So sorry. Didn't mean to offend. You're quite right, of course. You did disarm the time bomb, didn't you? Yes, you did disarm that one. Eh? What are you... That one? You mean... Oh my god. It was an hour later that we heard the news of the enormous explosion that ripped through the experimentation stage at the Great Exhibition. Professor Hairbrain's invention and all of its secrets were blown away forever. Well, we've technically got about half an hour left, but I suppose it makes more sense to wrap up here. I think this is a really good place to stop. But, yeah. Return of the Great Departed Soul was the name of this. I assume that means Kazuma. That's what that title means, I think. Well, I guess we'll see what comes next. Next week. Next week, right? Yeah. Yeah. I'll be here next week. The last week of March, I won't be here. I'll be gone during that time. But until then, I'll keep doing this regularly, but yeah, I'll be gone for the last week of March. So no streams during that time. So yeah, thank you to everyone who was and wasn't here. It's always great to do this with y'all, and I will see you all on Saturday for some more lucid dreaming. Toodles!